And there it is. We are live. And man, there's a lot of you guys here already. Look at you all. You're all amazing, dude.
Yeah.
And we are back for another awesome episode of Beards on Film. You guys know the three men who are always on this screen for this show absolutely love doing this live stream. Honestly, we wouldn't shut up if you didn't ask us to every now and then. So we would just keep going if we could.
Yeah.
And I got Eric with me. We got Joe in the building, and we have a special guest. I got my going the right way there. There we go.
There you go.
Valtimus in the building. Let's just real quick. Let's do some intros, and then we'll just start flowing into the movie stuff. First, Walt, you're our guest, so let's have some manners here. How you doing today, brother?
I'm great, man. Glad to be here.
It's awesome you coming on, man. Seriously, we appreciate it. Barbado Joe, how you doing today, my friend?
Good. Sober Chef Eric and I just did the hot gummy bear challenge. I had put some milk in the freezer, and it froze. So I'm just trying to finish it off. I didn't wind up needing it. It wasn't too bad.
Like, how hot was it?
I think the major difference is with the gummy bear challenge, you chew and swallow versus the Satan's toe, which you hold for 5 minutes in your mouth. The gummy bear, you're just not allowed to drink anything for 5 minutes. That was no problem. To me, it was not bad. And I'd only had 1 million Scoville. That's the hottest, like 1 million and change Scovilles before tonight. So I found it very easy, to be honest.
I could see that because you're right. When you do the Satan's toe, you have to hold that thing. Yeah. And the heat just keeps building. Whereas with the gummy bear, you can chew, swallow it down, and then, okay, whatever's coming is coming, but it's going to go away soon.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't expect, I was expecting the texture of the normal gummy bear, but it was like a stale gummy bear that had been sitting in the sun for a few weeks, and it was really tough to chew. And I think...
Really?
Yeah, I think that was done on purpose because... as you chewed it, it started releasing all that capsaicin, and it was pretty mean. But once I swallowed it, no issues for me. I didn't get acid reflux. I didn't get puking like some of the people.
I've had a little stomach issue with it. Not bad, but enough to let me know that bear's still kicking. But Billy, or as we now, I hope we all take up this charge. McMahon is now Val. That's just all there is to it. He is now Val because he's the valedictorian of his high school. So we're now going to call him Val, I hope. But he had he had to take a powder after a little while. It beat him up a little bit.
He was also a volcano. That was cheap.
Everybody's different, man. Everybody handles that stuff differently. Like some guys really can't take the spicy stuff. Like it really affects them, and they get beat up over it, man. It gets scary at times.
Yeah.
I remember the one on Dan's channel. I thought he was gonna die, dude. Like I thought that dude looked like he was in trouble that night.
Well, he went to the hospital,
Yeah. All right, Eric,
we went to the hospital
tonight, my friend.
Oh, sorry.
What's going on with me? Not much. Like I say, we just did the little nitro. I think I had it built up in my head to be just excruciatingly painful.
Yeah.
So I've eaten hotter stuff. And being that it was so, size of a gummy bear, I don't think there's going to be any aftershocks or anything tomorrow morning, But
well, I mean, I hope in the morning you're not like screaming at your asshole over the effects of the gummy bear. That's what I hope for you, sir. So I hope it's an easy morning for you.
Yeah, I'll take a smoothie in there with me if need be.
You might produce a smoothie.
The burn's going in and out.
Spit and mud.
Oh man. Listen, I just real quick before we get into the movie thing too. I want to thank everyone for last night. If you watched, if you were on the stream, whoever the hell you were, last night was friggin' amazing. I love all of you guys. Like, honestly, the best night I've had on a live stream, and I don't even know how long. Like, that was amazing. So many laughs. It just never stopped.
No, it was awesome. Everyone should have watched the first hour of that. That was like platinum level good stuff. That first hour of the reviewers table last night.
Yeah. Joe, man, I was like choking. Like I was laughing so much that I was starting to like choke. I'm like, you guys got to slow down. Stop it. and they just kept going. It was so much fun, man. I can't even handle it, but that's what live streams are supposed to be. We're supposed to come on, have some fun, have some laughs, have a good time. All right, so
check it out. I missed it. I'm not much for streams on Friday nights, so
the reviewers table isn't just any stream on a Friday night, sir.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It's not just any stream. It is the reviewers table. All right. And there is no other stream on a Friday night that matters. I'm doing that on purpose, by the way, because Walt has a stream on Friday night, so I'm trying to mess with him right now. So you gotta like play along.
Like, you guys are Jay Leno, and then we're Conan O'Brien. We follow
There you go. That's a good one, Walt. Well done.
We're still solid, We hold our own.
Oh no, I was on the Regard. I had a really good time on there. Those are a lot of really good guys in one place, man. And those are the kinds of streams I enjoy doing.
Oh hell yeah, that's a lot of fun.
So, long story real short, we had a whole plan together for this weekend, and then we just kept getting hit with like fastballs and curveballs, and things kind of just went all over the place. So we've decided to do a bit of an open forum tonight where we're going to talk about anything and everything to do with some films and some such. And I had a question to start us off real quick that I was talking about with my brother earlier, actually, because we were talking about an actor from a TV show we really like who has just been horrible in movies. But I was talking about like the actors who have been hyped up, right? Tons of money have been dumped into them to go and make some movies. And yet every movie they put out is just not, they've just been overhyped for no reason, in my opinion. Is there anybody out there for you guys specifically that you see a movie of his come out and you're like, oh man, here we go again. It's going to happen all over again. It's just going to be bad, isn't it?
Until John Wick, Keanu Reeves.
Really? Okay.
Not a Keanu Reeves. Don't like his acting prowess. Good looking dude. But in John Wick, the first one, I haven't seen any of the sequels. In John Wick, the first one, I got to give the man props. He did really well. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. I can see that, though, because you're right. All of his acting stuff, every movie he does, he's essentially the same guy.
Yeah.
He's the character the exact same way every time. Luckily, they finally created a character where he can just be himself. Like, that's what they did with John Wick.
Yeah.
And great films, all of them so far.
Well, Barbado, did you ever see My Own Private Idaho?
I saw the first half hour. Oh, I saw the first half hour of it.
Yeah, that was Gus Van Sant's first big movie, and I really enjoyed it, and that was early in his career. It wasn't Bill and Ted early, but it was shortly after that. I mean, it was pre-21, I'm sure.
Okay. The Dracula in the 90s is what killed me. His accent was god-awful. That's what kind of stuck it in the side for me. And then he's done a few other movies where I was just like, yeah, I don't seek him out.
Okay.
Let's chat.
Anybody on yours?
Well, I'm just not a big fan of Christian Bale, other than the Batman series, but just like Terminator and just some of his stuff, he just seems like a straight, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's not my cup of tea, I guess you would say. But speaking of bad accents, if anybody's seen Doctor Strange and tells me that American accent that what's his name, Cumberbatch, whatever.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, it was just a god awful American accent to me. Usually English people can pull off a decent English accent, but he can't. It just sounds weird. It sounds like he's like chewing on like Tootsie Rolls or something. I don't know.
I can see the Christian Bale thing. I can see that. I can see that as well. He's another one that, like, yes, he does really get into it for the performances. He really does what he has to do to come across well on the screen. But a lot of his movies are very hit or miss. There's no in between with a Christian Bale film, So I can understand that one. I get that one.
Yeah. See, for me, Machinist was my first experience of his acting, and that was just phenomenal. And then the most disturbing book I ever read got turned into a movie, and he did great in it. American Psycho.
Yep. Yeah, he was very good in American Psycho.
Yeah.
Not for Walt. Yeah. Walt's like, screw that guy.
Walt's like, what did he do so well? He played a nut job. Joe does that every Friday night in the reviewers table.
That's right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I mean, I thought he did well in that. Also, the other one that Adrian just brought up here, The Prestige, I thought he did pretty well in that as well. If you haven't seen The Prestige, by the way, it's like a little hidden gem. That's a good
flick.
movie, man.
Is
I
that
taught
the
it to
one
my
with
son.
him and Hugh Jackman?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a really good flick. I did not see the end coming whatsoever. They got me. They did. I didn't see that coming. So it's one of those films that honestly, after you watch it the first time, you might watch it one more time just to kind of go, oh crap, now I see. Well, I get it now. Okay. And then after that, you'll probably never watch it again because the ending's spoiled, and that's just the end of it all for you. But
yeah,
that's all right. Eric, any actor that makes you want to throw up?
The most infuriating one for me on a couple levels is Michael Douglas. He's in a lot of movies that I really like, but his range as an actor, I mean, he's pretty much Gordon Gekko in every movie. And then the thing that irks me to death, how in the hell did he get married to Catherine Zeta-Jones?
I know, man.
Waste.
I know, man.
Lucky bastard.
At one point, I would have said, I don't know, but recently, the really hot girl that started dating, anything can happen, dude. Anything can happen. All right? Just anything. So, I don't know.
After last night, the fact that she's not running for the hills is a testament.
No, actually, she called me after last night and said, don't worry, I don't like feet either.
Oh, okay. Hey, there you go.
That was to make you feel better.
Adrian, Michael B. Jordan in The Wire was freaking awesome, and he was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Michael B's got some good performances, Adrian. I'm just going to, I mean, I get it, but he's got some really good performances out there. But everybody's different, man.
Yeah.
I do get the Michael Douglas thing, though, as me and Eric were actually talking about it before we went on. And, like, I get it. I do, because he is the same guy in every movie. He plays every character the exact same way.
Yeah.
You know, there's no range, really. He just is who he is. And granted, he has been in a lot of movies I really enjoy, but, yeah, no. I mean, I guess if you're going off of acting chops himself, he just doesn't it's not as good as he's been out to be. Like, you know, they've made him out to be this. I don't buy it.
Oh, he still makes millions per movie. You know, I mean, I'm not hating on him. You know, I just think there's actors that can adapt to roles and there's actors that can't. You know, Sylvester Stallone knows his lane. He stays in his lane.
Same with Vin Diesel. He just kind of does his thing, and to see him pull something off, like being a detective that's going through, like, has like his own issues. Say for it's like True Detectives. You'll never see a Vin Diesel do that type of stuff. You'll never see him show depth. It's like, I can shoot a fake gun and kind of
find me guilty. Find me guilty. Vin did pretty good in that.
That was actually I was very pleasantly surprised with that.
Yeah,
check that out.
That is the one exception with Vin. That is the one exception with him where he did show some pretty good depth and range as an actor. It wasn't just him being the big guy on the screen that can shoot a fake gun. You know what I mean? Like, he did show some real acting chops in that movie, and he did very well. But you're right. For the most part, Vin knows his lane. He knows, hey, man, this is what I do. We make movies. We blow up a lot of fake things. We shoot off a lot of guns. And somewhere in there, I spout a catchphrase, and then I'm going to go cash a check for $25 million.
Right.
There we go. He gets it. And that's that.
My favorite Vin Diesel movie, Pitch Black.
Yep. That was a good one. I like that one.
Not a crazy action movie, but I just really dug it.
I actually like one that everybody else hated, which I don't know what that means about me, but The Last Witch Hunter.
What?
The Last Witch Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody else hated it. I really like that one. That's my favorite from him. Everybody else hated it. I liked it. I don't know. Don't talk bad about Vin Diesel to my wife. Oh, well, you know, we're not talking bad. We're just saying that Vin is smart and he knows what he should and shouldn't be doing. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, he's got.
We're never going to see a Fast and Furious, the well-acted edition. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be the big explosions and the cars. And Vin knows what he's doing. He's not dumb. He's smart. He's figured it out.
Definitely not like a method actor. You know.
Yeah, he's not going to be in Dumb and Dumber 3 either. You know, I mean, I don't think he's got the timing or the chops for comedy. But like I say, his manager and his agent are great at finding him great roles for him. You know, they don't try to, put him in 7 Years in Tibet, which is my least favorite Brad Pitt movie ever. But, I like most of Vin's movies. They're entertaining. Doesn't take much to watch them.
Yeah. You could go and do some stuff, come back, and you're still right back in the movie. you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say my least favorite actor on the planet, and I'm sure some people aren't going to like my answer. That's okay. That's all right. I'm used to being the bad guy. It's fine. Will Smith. I don't get it. Listen. There wasn't a bigger Fresh Prince fan than me on the planet. All right. I loved Fresh Prince when I was a kid. Right. Bad Boys, the original Bad Boys. Loved it. Mm-hmm. My hopes were through the roof for Will Smith. And there have been some movies that I was like Hitch. I don't get why anybody thought Hitch was a good movie. It was not, except for Kevin James moments in that movie. It was not a good movie.
Yeah,
it just wasn't.
Kevin James sold it.
Yeah, it was not a good movie. It was very bad, very bad. That movie he did with his whole family on the weird planet and all that. I don't know what the hell that was. He's not good. He's just not good. I Am Robot. That wasn't good either.
He does well when you pair him with a comedian. If you pair him with Kevin James, pretty decent. That'll bring in some views. You pair him with Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys, pretty decent views. So I can see where that you're saying you can pair him with somebody, and if it's done right, they can probably pull it off and get a good box office hit out of it.
See, to me, Will is. I distinguish these two terms: movie star and actor. Will is not an actor. Will is not an actor. Will is a movie star, right? So he's gonna be selling box office on the persona. Everyone knows the Will Smith persona, particularly in a comedy. So to me, that's why that's there's certain guys like you mentioned, Vin Diesel. That's like bottom of the barrel expectations for acting. You mentioned Stallone. Again, bottom of the barrel expectations. Later though, earlier Stallone, he wasn't too bad. He had a couple. Rocky was a great movie all around.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think of those those term distinctions.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. I do, and I get it. You know what you're getting from Will, and I guess that's my point here. Is I don't get why everybody bought in. I don't get it. Why did he just get to be the movie star and this? Hey, we're gonna get the Will. No. We deserve better than Will Smith. I'm sorry, we deserve better.
Pursuit
and if he ever sees this and he gets mad, I'm sorry, Will.
I'll be
a Fresh Prince fan my whole life, dude. I'd still watch if it was on right now. So there you go.
For sure.
I love Pursuit of Happiness and Ali. The thing I respect about
Ali was good.
They approached him about playing Ali early in his career, and he's like, my acting isn't strong enough yet to do that movie.
Well, good that he knew that. That's good for him. Yeah. Good for him.
And a decade later, he's like, okay, I'm ready to go after it. And I thought, I've seen a lot of people play Ali in a lot of different things. And he, by far, I thought, got the mannerisms and the speech patterns down better than anybody. And I grew up watching Ali.
That's a good call, Eric.
70s.
And in that, Will, are you okay, Joe?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Sam's talking to me about something.
in kind of the inverse vein, when you mentioned that, a guy who I had no expectations of, who has crushed it in a few dramatic roles, is Jamie Foxx, who he's a comedian and stand-up guy, and when he starts doing You know, I expect him to be like a Martin Lawrence, so a Will Smith, just one of those types. And then with Ray and a couple other things, I mean, that dude has some chops right
Soloist.
He's one that I
there.
I always wonder when he's gonna get that recognition. Like you thought, like he got it as Ray. They gave him awards, everything else. He did amazing. But then, like I expected so many more big roles after that. Like look at how well he did.
Yeah.
And it's just never really found him for some reason, one reason or the other, whatever it is, it's just never worked out. You know, I don't know.
Well, once you've won an Oscar, you can pretty much pick and choose what you do. And I think he started out as a comedian and, you know, live performer. And I think he really enjoys changing it up, not doing serious all the time. I mean, you know, when he played MFer Jones on Horrible Bosses, you know, he looked like he had fun making that movie.
They should call you MF her over Jones, so there's no misunderstandings. Who would misunderstand it? Oh yeah, no. I've always been a Jamie Foxx fan. Honestly, he's definitely got some range and some depth to him. He's also a really freaking good singer, by the way.
Ray,
yes,
really
great. And he played all the piano in Ray.
Yeah,
he's an amazing pianist. I even heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he did a lot of the playing on The Soloist as well. I don't know how true that is, but I know he went to a performing high school, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did play the cello. You know,
talented man, very talented man.
I just love the when they were doing like the making of Ray and stuff like that, and they showed him sitting there watching old footage of Ray Charles perform, and then him like trying to act out the mannerism. Like he was not okay until he could put on a show for people and they could say, yeah, you look just like him up there. You were acting just, he wasn't okay with it until then. And that's a sign of A, he wanted to nail the role, and B, the respect he probably had for Ray Charles as well.
Yeah.
And doing that role, you know? Yeah. So without question, absolutely. I want more from him, but maybe I'm being greedy on that one. I don't know.
And it's probably the only Kanye song that I like.
Oh,
in fairness, he linked up with Kanye before Kanye. Well, maybe before Kanye showed. I was about to say before he went crazy. Maybe before Kanye showed us his crazy is the better word. Before he showed us his crazy. You know, like
I think Kanye's mom's death
TMZ with him. Huh?
Yeah. I said I think his mom's death is what unhinged him.
I mean, you could argue that because after that, he definitely changed. I mean, but again, who knows? Did he really change, or was it early on? Guys were telling him, "Hey, listen, don't show that stuff. People aren't going to buy your stuff, and you're not going to get rich."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, who knows? But that TMZ interview with him, where him and the guy are arguing, and then he's following him around the studio afterwards, going, "I just want to hug you. I just want to hug you." I was like, what the hell is going on right now? If I was that guy, I'd be uncomfortable at the moment. Get away from me.
And Kanye's performance on Saturday Night Live a couple seasons ago, where he was performing dressed up as a water bottle, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live is hit or miss for me.
Who was that, Walt?
I said Saturday Night Live is hit or miss for me.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It all depends on the cast. I quit watching it many, many moons ago, but I'll go back and look at certain skits. But yeah, I don't. I mean, that's a 50-year-old show almost. Think about that. That's a 45-year-old show or so.
And I'm a lot like you at this point, Joe. I don't actually watch them live anymore. I'll just go back on YouTube and look up. If somebody tells me, "Oh, this skit on Saturday night was amazing," I'll be like, "All right." So I'll go check it out real quick. But I didn't know what, like you said, too. It also depends on what comedians do they have on the show right now. Yeah. Who's working? Who's part of the cast at the moment? Remember, this was a show that started off with Belushi and Chevy Chase, and evolved into so many other great actors that took that stage at one point or another, and were recurring members of the cast. To now, it's a different world we're in now. They don't have to do Saturday night anymore to get their names out there if they want to. That's the other thing that's changed too. You don't need TV to get your name out there anymore. These things right here, our phones and social media have forever changed the way you can break out as a star in this world.
Oh, for sure.
I got to say one thing. The one guest host that shocked the living S out of me, when he was slotted to come on, I was like, okay, I've seen him sing on the show, but how is he going to be as an actor? And the guy's turning into a pretty darn good actor, Justin Timberlake. He's one of my favorite hosts for Saturday Night Live. And, you know, you see him in roles like Alpha Dog, and granted, he was into Love Master or whatever that really bad Mike Myers movie was.
I don't want to talk about that.
You know, Justin has blown me away with his acting ability. I mean, you know, so
Trouble with the Curve. He was really good in that. The Clint Eastwood movie. He was very good in that one.
Like,
even that weird romantic comedy, which I don't really like those movies, but that one with him and the incredibly hot chick who I can't remember her name at the moment. Mila Kunis. I was going through the, you know, when he was talking to the Indians and Once Upon a Time or A Million Ways to Die in the West. There we go.
Yeah.
I was like, what was he saying to the Indians? And, Mila Kunis. Like, I go, all right, cool, fine. But yeah, even that one with him and her. I'm not a big romantic comedy guy, but even that one was pretty good. And I was pretty surprised at his range really in that movie, the different things he did and the way he treated things. And he's been very surprising, man. I don't think he ever quite turned into the singer that we thought he would be. People thought he was going to be like the next Michael Jackson. And I don't know if we ever got that from Justin.
I don't know about that. I worked one of the shows at the Pepsi Center, and the dude is an entertainer. He can
absolutely.
Dance, he can sing. His stage show, his presence, he shocked me.
Joe, I think we found Eric's man crush.
I just have 4 words that made me a fan of his forever. Dick in a box.
Yep.
So those 4. That's when I was like, okay, this guy might. I mean, it's comedic and you know, and it's singing. You know, so he's in wheelhouses here. But that was an amazing skit to me. I'm like, this kid may go someplace.
Well, and
Acting.
their follow-up, Motherfucker, with Susan Sarandon and who was the other actress? Played the other guy's moms, or they were dating each other's moms.
Yeah.
Comedic genius.
Well, like that whole like Lonely Island is a comedic musical group, and Justin Timberlake has done a few things with them. I mean, they did one with Michael Bolton about Captain Jack Sparrow. They've done some really quality, funny videos, and if you've never heard of Lonely Island, you should definitely go check them out because they're really fun.
Not right now, but when we're done.
When we're done, correct. When we're done.
Yeah, they're hilarious. I mean, Spring Break, that song.
Yep.
You know, I've got both of their CDs, but
I definitely,
one thing I want to mention is Adrian Duarte made a really strong comment that I agree with. And let me pull it up. I'll read it. I dislike Hayden Christensen because what he did to Vader. LOL. No reason to laugh at that at all. That's a great statement.
It is.
I've seen him in a few movies, and
I hate the man.
Yeah, he was poor. Yeah, very poor.
I hate the man. I mean, my hatred for him is so strong because of what he did to one of my favorite characters that if I ever ran into him in person, I might take my shot. Like I might go off swinging and see what happens.
Jumper was pretty boring to me as far as, I mean, it was visually cool and it's a cool idea. And I love concept movies. Like that's my wheelhouse. 4 Rooms, Run Lola Run, Donnie Darko.
Nice.
Concept movies are like, especially if they can incorporate colors and different things like that. That is my wheelhouse. Because I love to be able to dissect and look into it. And it was a great concept. Just poor acting choices, you know?
Apparently McMahon has taken the bed. He's not holding up too well right now.
I hope he's okay. I hope the brother's okay.
Our buddy Mick. Listen, man, those challenges can be rough on people. I'm telling you, if you don't have the heat tolerance, and I like my spicy stuff, I do, but I know my cutoff, man. And I would give it a shot, but I would fully be prepared for the after effects. I know what would happen to me, or what I think would happen to me, so I'd have to be prepared all the way. You know,
Trooper. I mean, he knew he wasn't going to do well at it. He felt it. You know, and then Billy Shaky Rogers. He's not good with heat, and he's done 2 of them now on the screen. So hats off to those guys too. On the Weeks Joe movies are great. Hey, Jason, you know, there are some really great ones out there. Joe and I just got to get back on the horse again and be able to click with some things, but he and I have a list a mile long. The YouTube had a problem because Hateful Eight was real high on both. YouTube has a problem with, they'll always hit me with a copyright strike, not a strike, a copyright notice, right? And I'm finding out more and more it's about music, and it's tricky editing. Now, the whole beginning of Hateful Eight has got a Morricone soundtrack to it. So I've been thinking about like how we can work around it so Joe and I can analyze that. If I feel I can do it, we will do a 2 Cups of Joe on Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Because we're both so high on it.
We were both really excited to do that one. And just right out the bat, we just got nailed. And it's like, you know, Joe's right. Listen, if you do the 2 Cups of Joe like we do or something like that, it really is rough, man, because they will shoot you down for just about anything they can find with the copyright, man. Like, they will give you a hard time over everything you can think of.
And it's a weirdest damn thing because I'm doing True Detective and I can play the whole theme song and get away with it. But the other hard thing about it is YouTube doesn't tell you, hey, edit out this section and you're fine. They just give you like a 4 or 5 or 6 minute range and say the error is here. So I'm like, well, hell, where is it? And it just becomes really maddening. At one time when we were doing Reservoir Dogs, until I figured out how to work around their copyright system, I re-edited and published a video of mine and Joe's 9 times and got hit. And then I told Joe I can't do it. And then I figured my way around it. We were able to finish Reservoir Dogs. And then we had a little steam on this. We're like, okay, let's try Hateful Eight now. And then Hateful Eight
right hook right to the jaw right away. Me and Joe were all excited. We're like, here we go. And first episode right out the box. I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
It just bothers me how a lot of these like movie channels are able to get away with a lot of this stuff. I don't know what they're doing.
I know that some of the bigger reaction to music channels, you can pay like a copyright fee, which allows you, now I don't know how that works because that's never going to be me, but I have read about it. Walt was trying to help me out with some stuff. You're good at 5 seconds. Well, that's not the style of show I'm doing. That's not the style of show we are doing. So it's very much every time I tackle a new movie, it's a dice roll, which is why I'm trying to do movies early, because right after True Detective is done, I'm going to do 7, and I've already got enough of those in the can that I know I'm good there. And then after 7, I'm going to do The Shining, and I've got a couple of those already done. So I know. So it's one of those things where I actually have to work ahead in case I get shot down and go, okay, well, what's next then? So
see, that's what I was wondering, if it had something to do with how much is in the stream. Like, say for instance, if you took like Hateful Eight and then you put it into the corner of the screen and you guys maintained on the screen as well, and then y'all talked about it, would that cause a difference? Because I've seen some movie channels do that as well.
Interesting. But then I'd have to put my shirt on and maybe actually, I swear to God, most of the 2 Cups of Joe, Walt, I'm laying on a couch, my hand right here, no shirt. I mean, come on, brother has to be comfortable when he's old.
In fact, more than not, we'll get on the screen and his side is blacked out, or he's got the camera off, and he's like, Joe, I'm laying around with no shirt on, and I'm, I don't want to bother you with all that. Let's film this episode. So I'm like, okay, let's go, Joe.
I just wanted to say, to jump in here because I was so excited, and I'm like, oh, we're not going to talk about this on film, on Beers on Film. I just rewatched Lincoln. Okay. And yes, it's a great film. It's, Steven Spielberg, all that. 2 things I noticed. Number one is just all the great actors that I didn't notice the first time around that are in that film. Freaking Walton Goggins with a throwaway role, with just like 2 lines. Also, what I didn't notice was, because I saw it initially in the theaters, Lee Pace, my guy in that film, The Fall, the crippled guy with the little girl, you remember that? He's a huge guy on the Democrat side. He's the younger Democrat that is like kind of like the firebrand. So I was like, my boy Lee Pace, all right. here's what I want to say. I mean, I hope we all know that Daniel Day-Lewis is a once-in-a-generation actor.
Oh, forget
He's
it.
my favorite actor. But one thing I really focused on, and I actually want to go back and look at it again, is watching all the time where he's not in dialogue, but he's in the composition. How often Spielberg lets it be a medium shot versus lets it be a close-up. Because there is something here, you usually get that close-up for the impact, but Lewis is so good with what I call, for lack of a better term, dead time. He's so good between lines. He's so good at acting, at doing off-the-ball play. If you think of a basketball metaphor, you want guys that are moving around off the ball, doing things for the team off the ball. When Lewis is in a scene, whether he is the center of it or not, what he does when he's not talking is just masterful. And it just gave me a whole new appreciation for the guy. The pauses he elects to take, the little moves he makes, that's all him. And Spielberg is going to let him fly. Spielberg is not going to have tight reins. It's not like he's a new guy. It's just such a great movie. Yeah, go ahead, Walt.
No, I was waving to Chad. He was calling me a silly burger.
And by the way, nice support. Walt's bringing in the Regard crew. Good support on your guys' behalf. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, what about support? I brought Nicole in.
Yep.
I didn't bring nobody.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's like nobody's here for me. Nobody came in for me.
And I'm good with that.
No. Joe, listen, you're absolutely 100% right. First of all, Daniel Day-Lewis is a once in a lifetime generational talent. The man is a living, breathing, walking icon on the screen. I can't really pull out any bad roles that he's done per se. If somebody can prove me wrong on that, please feel free. But everything I've ever seen him in, he is absolutely a gift to watch. And I think you're so right, because I think because it was him, right? Spielberg just kind of gave him a little more of that leeway to do things his way. And I've always wondered about his, what do you call that? His preparation or his technique, how he gets into a character. You know what I mean?
His method.
Like, how does he do it? Does he sit there and watch old stuff? Does he read books on them? Does he do this? Does he do that? Because it's the little things with him that I pay attention to. When he seems to have little twitches going on or mannerisms that he's always doing because he thinks that's what this character would do. Where did that come from? Did he just make it up, or did he see it in some other piece of media or something like that? So, but I absolutely love the man. I've never seen him in anything where he wasn't amazing personally.
That's the difference between acting a role and melting into the role, like you talked about. It's awesome.
Yeah, and probably my favorite is Gangs of New York, just because it's so historically not that specific story, but Scorsese is such a history buff when it comes to New York City, and History Channel, on a copy I used to have, they had a 4-hour special all about the history of New York. And Gangs of New York, and it was freaking amazing. My Left Foot, which was, I think, his first Oscar, blew me away. And then, and this is how of an amazing actor I think he is. My least favorite role of his, There Will Be Blood, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
People think I'm crazy when I say this too. And listen, I love this man as well. He's given me some amazing performances, but I think Leo actually brought down that movie. Gangs of New York. Yeah, I don't think he gave the best. I was so looking forward to that, him and Daniel, him really bringing those acting chops and just diving into this. And there were times when I felt like he was just phoning it in and just, maybe he was in awe of being on the same movie set with Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know. But it just didn't feel like he rose to the occasion for me. And he actually dragged some scenes down when he was in them. Just my opinion on that one.
I would say it was his best role. His best acting. But I thought he was still good in it. And Chad Straczek, Gary Oldman, professional, awesome, but in my book, he'll always be Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
Sid and Nancy ruined him for any other role because even though he gets into these characters and is the bad cop and The Professional was amazing and he's so talented.
Churchill.
But no matter how deep he is into a role, I always get just a little flash of Sid Vicious at least once.
The one that made him for me was True Romance. Is it White Boy Day? It must be White Boy Day. That was such a great little role. I was like, who is this son of a gun? Because I was still fairly early in his career, and I followed him ever since True Romance and went backwards with him because I love him as an actor too.
Yep. Tarantino screenplay and Tony Scott director was not to like.
Yeah. Well, were you going to say something a little bit ago about Lewis or something along those lines?
So I was just wondering, after Titanic, it was all about Leo. And I was wondering, was his next big box office, was that Gangs of New York?
Let's find out.
Barbara Joe will look that up for us.
Yeah.
But here's what I can tell you. Leo, I mean, I know Titanic is what started to make his career, and everybody was talking about him after Titanic, really. But listen, Catch Me If You Can. He was absolutely brilliant in that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant in it. Like, second to none in that one. The Revenant, he was great in that one. Like, I mean, honestly, if he sucked in The Revenant, it would have been a horrible movie because it was basically just centered around him 90% of the time.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting because Titanic is early. He's only, and I was going to say this, Joe, but I wasn't sure. He's only 6 years in as an actor in Titanic. Okay.
And Romeo and Juliet was soon after that, which I loved.
Right, and Quick and the Dead, which I saw, which could have been better, but
was still fun.
Right. So Gangs of New York is only a few years after Titanic. It's only 5 years after. And again, to me, Leo was okay in that, but that was more a movie star. But I would say then he goes on a run from 02 to 04, where you go Catch Me If You Can and Gangs of New York in 02, and Aviator in 04, and then The Departed in 06.
Yeah.
Okay? And in the middle of Aviator and Departed is something called The Assassination of Richard Nixon, which he's an executive producer in. But he hits a nice little run there in the mid-2000s.
Yeah. And I think The Departed really changed him forever as an actor, because I think going into that, the thought was that he was the good-looking guy. He was this, he was that. He was always going to be the kind of romantic comedy guy. And even in a drama, he was going to be the eye candy for the ladies on the screen.
Yeah.
The Departed was really where he cut those chops. Like, dude, he's a friggin' undercover pill-swallowing nut job, basically. Like, and he played it great. Like, he hung so well on that set with Nicholson and everybody else that was on that movie. Even Wahlberg. Like, all those guys just did so well in that movie. So it's such a good movie. Was such a good movie. Way better than that other one. The one that Joe doesn't like. Why can't I remember the name of it? About Whitey.
About what?
Black Mass.
Black Mass. Oh,
yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
Well, give me fun.
Yeah, you take away Johnny Depp's performance out of Black Mass, and it's a complete shit show. Honestly, the only thing that saves it was Johnny Depp's performance, really. But besides that, not a good film. Not a good film. Prove me wrong, please. I dare you.
Ross Departed did have just a huge cast, but if Scorsese gives you a call and said, "Hey, we've worked together before, and I want to work with you again," who's going to say no? And
Scorsese can give me a call and tell me, "Listen, I need somebody who's got exceptional gas to come fart for me on a film." And if that's all I'm ever known for in IMDb is farting on a Scorsese film, I'm in, bro. Let's do it. I'm in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how else am I getting in a Scorsese film?
Mac, if you loved Hoffa, you've got to watch The Irishman on Netflix, man. You just have to. Pacino, De Niro, Pesci. Oh, and by the way, there's some half-ass director, I think, that directed it as well. We're talking about, and it will fill in some of those areas that are big picture, because it's like what, a 3-hour movie? Is that what it goes? 3.5 Irishman?
3.5 easy.
Yeah. So it does what Hoffa does, but it kind of gives you a little more context and a little more roundness to it. And I think you would totally dig it, Mac. Netflix.
I can't even tell you how much I love that line by Wahlberg in The Departed. I can't even tell you. My opinion on feds are like mushrooms. Feed them shit and keep them in the dark.
Well, yeah. And to me, if you're going to make a movie in Boston, have some actors that are from fucking Boston in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they had him, they had Damon, you know, I mean, and I saw a speech that Scorsese did after he won, you know, how they do the little interviews in the back. And he's like, yeah, when I was first telling people I was going to be shooting a film in Boston, they said I had to have the Dropkick Murphys on the soundtrack or it wouldn't be authentic. And they played Shipping Up to Boston 3 different times in the movie, different cuts and different intros and whatnot. But I haven't seen that in too many movies where you get one song 3 different times. I've seen different versions of the same song, but I've never seen a movie that had one song in it 3 times. And Dropkick Murphys, one of my favorite all-time bands.
And it's interesting because sometimes you get these movies where like they play really good music in it, and it almost helps. It improves the movie. Like, you know, it actually gives the movie more. I don't know, gravitas or whatever you want to call it. You know, like Donnie Darko has some really great soundtracks. You know, and I just felt like that added to it. You know, I mean, it's a pretty good movie, but I felt like the soundtrack just like took it to another level.
Well, and that's why for my next choice, we're doing soundtracks, because soundtrack, when it's done right and you've got the right music producer putting those songs in at the right place, and then the score is done just perfectly, it makes a scene, it makes a movie memorable. I mean, and it combines 2 of my biggest loves, movies and music, man.
Yep.
No, yeah. And then there's some movies where the soundtrack is actually better than the movie was. And that's, you know, we've seen that happen too. That happens quite often, actually, believe it or not. I actually think it happened in a newer movie, Southpaw, with what the hell's his name? Why can't I remember his name right now?
Southpaw, wasn't that The Rock?
No, that was Jake Gyllenhaal. That's who it was.
Oh, okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal. It was supposed to be Eminem, but he was busy. So they brought on Gyllenhaal to do the role, and Eminem produced the soundtrack. He did 3 tracks on it, and he produced it. And I personally think the only reason that the hype train built up was because of Eminem doing the soundtrack. The movie's okay. It's not over the top. It's definitely not one of the greatest boxing movies ever created. It's all right. And it's not even one of Gyllenhaal's best performances. So, you know, I think the soundtrack sold that movie, honestly. That's just my opinion. Men at Work, great soundtrack. Yeah.
Gyllenhaal's kind of he's hit or miss for me. Kind of like Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is hit or miss for me. I have a hard time getting a beat on him.
See, Johnny, I'll give you the Johnny one. I will, man. But when Johnny nails a role, he friggin' nails it. Like when he gets into a character and he's gonna really like, dude, it's just there's nobody like him when it comes to that stuff. Really, he's just so on point with things.
Well, Jarhead from Gyllenhaal was awesome.
Yeah, well, I think it works both ways. You know what it is too for some of these guys too. Some projects I genuinely believe they take because they love the project. Other ones, maybe they owe somebody a favor. Maybe they're just not getting that much work right now. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
And then the dialogue can be if the dialogue meshes with the actor, they can really pour themselves into it. But if it does not, it's like you said with Leonardo DiCaprio on Gangs of New York. He did not connect with the dialogue. He didn't connect. He just didn't deliver like he would, say, for instance, Catch Me If You Can.
Right. Hey, Joe, let me ask you something, Joe, because you've been studying film for quite some time now, sir. How much do you think an actor's performance in a movie, like the way he delivers things like that, is reflected in the way a producer or a director or whoever you want to say runs the film?
I'll just use Kubrick because he was either a mad genius or a sadistic prick, depending on your point of view.
Okay.
In The Shining, Scatman Crothers, who played the chef of the hotel, Mr. Halloran, almost came to blows with him because he did over 100 takes of a very simplistic line. He wanted Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall was losing her hair at some point because he would do 60, 70, 80 takes. For whatever reason, he did it with Nicholson too, but Nicholson could take it better. And that's because Kubrick had a purpose for what he wanted from these characters. And so he tried to make the real individuals feel it so that it came out in the character, which again is either genius or very sadistic.
Right.
So I think it's very much dependent on whoever is helming that ship and how, and Kubrick is not a big guy for improv, right? But Here's Johnny was an improv line from Nicholson.
Right.
And out of the many takes, he kept it. Kubrick kept it. So he was at least wise enough to realize when something's better than what's on the script, you run with it. But I think, again, if you're a good director and you have a thoroughbred, you let that thoroughbred run.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That was exactly why I posed that question to you, because my thought process is that some of the best directors and producers are the ones who realize, hey, wait a minute, I've got Daniel Day-Lewis on my friggin' movie right now, and there's an open set. You know what? I'm just going to let Daniel do him, and we're just going to roll tape and see what happens here.
Yeah.
You know, I think those are some of the best ones because they realize who they have, and then at the same time they realize, okay, I've got some, possibly talented kid, but he hasn't really earned his chops yet.
Right.
He's going to stay to the friggin' script here, and he ain't ruining my movie.
Right.
There's a fine line there,
Well, and for me, that gets epitomized in good comedy movies with good comedic actors. They'll be like, when they show the B-roll on the extras, and they're doing just line after line, and each one is freaking hilarious. And 9 times out of 10, it's the director knowing that Adam Sandler's hilarious, and he's just going to let him go take after take after take because he knows one might end up being the gem, but the rest are still going to be freaking awesome. I
want to remind everybody on the screen right now, talking bad about Adam Sandler is a good way to have me drive down to your house and throw a shoe at you. Just say it.
I didn't say anything bad about that.
I'm just reminding Waltimus and Joe, it's a good way to get a shoe thrown at you. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I like Hubie. It was funny. What do you think about Liar Liar Jim Carrey, where they did the takes after? I mean, is that what you're kind of leading to, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, that would be one thing. Robin Williams in his comedic roles, like when he did Patch Adams, they're just like, okay, we're just going to let the camera run. And then especially you get actors and actresses that play really well off each other comedically. And it's just like, they'll just let them go back and forth, back and forth. And, a good director is going to be like, these guys are great together. I'm going to let them go. I'll let them do as many takes as they want, or I'll encourage different takes. And then if they see that the actor or the comedian doesn't have that kind of range and that creativity, that's when a good director will rein him in and go, no, this is how this needs to be done,
Right.
So,
now, Joe, I want to go to when this goes wrong and take you back to Lewis's process that you were asking about earlier, right?
Okay.
In the Name of the Father, which is based off of a true story about an IRA soldier,
Right.
which is early to mid Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing this guy, and he told the actors who are the prison guards, whenever I'm around you, I want you to treat me like garbage. I want you to cuss at me. I want you to spray the hose at me all the time. I want you to do all the things, whether we're on camera or not, right? And the director was cool with it until Daniel Day literally got pneumonia and was in fear of death. Like, he was that bad, but he was still going because that was his method, right? And the director had to say, no, Daniel. Okay, I've let you run with this a long time. You need to go to the hospital. They stopped production. They took him to the hospital. He got better. And I don't know if he resumed with that same craziness or not, but that's how he does his stuff. And the director let him go virtually, to death to let him do that. And he had to put his foot down.
Right. That's what we're talking about. That fine line there where, yeah, it's Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, he's a superstar. He's a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. But if you let him, he was about to kill himself to get the role done. So, yeah, you gotta step in and rein these guys in, I'm sure. And also, let's not forget something, man. Some of these bigger actors, they know exactly who they are. They know who they are. They know the power they pull on a film set. So I'm sure there are more than a few of these guys that are the biggest pains in the asses on the planet to work with in reality. Where some producers probably get the list from the studio and they're like, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is who we cast in the lead, and they go, oh shit.
Like they have those
here we
meltdowns
go.
on camera.
So then I wonder.
Yep.
Then I wonder
Yep.
when those two have to work together. How does that work out for us? Are those some of the horrible movies we've seen because we have a producer and a lead actor who just can't stomach each other, and he's going, "All right, do the scene." That was terrible. I don't give a shit. Print it, roll it. Let's go. We're done. Let's get out of here.
Well, that was Remember the Titans. Well, was it LL Cool J or Jamie Foxx that there was a problem with one of them? Wasn't there?
That was no, you're talking about the one with Al Pacino, Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. Thank you. Yeah,
yes,
Any Given Sunday.
They got into a real fight. So in the movie, the characters were supposed to have a beef, right? They were supposed to not like each other. But apparently, LL Cool J took this as him and Jamie Foxx really had a problem. Now, Jamie doesn't know if it's because he improv certain things and he said certain things just to kind of basically the director said, hey, just say something that would piss the character off.
Right.
So Jamie would say things and LL would take it like, well, wait a minute. They didn't tell you to say that.
Right.
Why are you saying those kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
So then when it came time for the fight scene, he said LL was really walking around like all heated and swollen. He's like, I hope he's just gaining character or whatever. And then all of a sudden they said, action, and LL really hooked off on him. He swung off and started swinging. And then when he hit the ground, he's like, mind you, this is a shower scene as well, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I hit the ground and he's sitting there stopping me with his bare foot. He's like, are you kidding me right now? What just happened here? But again, I believe that was a Scorsese film as well. I think it was, right?
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone. Okay, that's why I was getting that mixed up. Okay, thank you. It was an Oliver Stone film. He put according to Jamie Foxx at least, he put so much attention on Pacino. That's where all of his time went. That he didn't even notice the fact that LL and Jamie Foxx were trying to kill each other on set, basically. When the scene ended, he just went, cut, that was beautiful, and walked away. Jamie's like, beautiful? He just kicked my ass. What do you mean beautiful?
And Chad Straza, Val Kilmer may be a pain in the ass, but Real Genius, one of the best comic movies, and same with Top Secret. If you haven't seen those, need to watch them.
Early Val Kilmer is killer, yes. I agree.
Yes, he was. I don't know what happened to him as his career went on, but early Val Kilmer was on to something. LL's hard to watch. Yeah, unfortunately, Uncle L's not exactly one of the greatest actors that's ever gotten onto a screen. There was a movie though, actually, with him and Omar Epps that was pretty good called In Too Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good film with him. I don't know how much of a stretch it was for him, depending on where he grew up from and stuff like that. But it was a very good film, in my opinion, at least. But motion picture wise, there aren't many others I can grab from with him and go, he was really good in that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done pretty well in TV though. In the TV land, I think he's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah. And I think that's a healthier place to go. Who was going to talk there? I don't mean who was.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a more forgiving medium. I mean, Ice-T was on whatever cop show was for all those years.
Law and Order.
And Ice-T was a thief and part-time drug salesman, right? I mean, some of these musicians, like LL as well, and maybe other rappers, they're not classically trained. They're not any trained.
No.
You're capitalizing on a persona and a name, right? Some guys can make that work, and some guys maybe can't, or some people know where they're like some of you have said earlier, know where their lane is, and they're not going to try for bigger and better because they know it's just not what they can do.
So that's one of the reasons why Tupac was he was like a unicorn almost, because he was classically trained. He went to a performance arts school and all that stuff.
Yes.
That's why he impressed so many directors and things like that on movie sets, because he really had some training, and he was actually more passionate about acting than he ever was about music.
He wanted
to be an actor. That's what he wanted to do.
Digital Underground. He was never a rapper. Yeah.
Yeah, and Thug Life tattoo. What's he know about Thug Life? He went to a performing arts high school. He pretended to be a gangster, and guess what? He got shot.
Just saying though, he still did grow up in Baltimore and some pretty mean places. Now he did get shipped out for school, but he did grow up in some pretty mean neighborhoods. Now he wasn't
Oakland and Baltimore. Yep.
Yeah, he wasn't a gangster. That wasn't who he was growing up. He was actually the good kid most of the time, trying to make it as an actor and find a positive way out of a negative environment.
Yeah, Mom was a black revolutionary who had done time in prison too.
Yeah.
So Mom instilled him with some of those values, and he did, because Mom didn't always have the kind of job, so they did live in poverty in some of the places he lived. I don't know how thug he was. He wasn't Jay-Z memorizing the lyrics to what would become his first album while he was out making the rounds with his crack sales. It wasn't that. Yeah, or Biggie, exactly. He wasn't to that level. Nothing to F with.
I was just watching of Mike's and Men earlier, actually, and that was such a good series. They did such a good job with that, man, and really, really open and honest series as well about what happened between that group. Because part of me always wondered, like, what happened? What happened? I grew up, man. I was such a big Wu-Tang fan, dude. Like, it was ridiculous. My first album I got bought for Christmas was Wu-Tang Forever. You know what I mean?
Red
like,
Man and Method Man were just like my favorite duo. Just awesome.
Oh, Tupac is timeless. I don't care what generation you're in. Pac's music will live on forever. He wrote some absolute classics. I still don't think he was as good of a lyricist as Biggie. Just my opinion, though.
No.
Just my opinion.
No, but he had Biggie, as we go into rap music on the film show. I listened to a lot of hip hop growing up. Pac had, for his time, right, late 80s and early 90s, Pac had a delivery that no one had ever heard before. Lyrically, he was okay, but Biggie kind of had that mush mouth delivery, And there's, a couple songs where they worked together because they were boys for a little while. They never got really published, but, I always thought that, like, Voltron, those two guys together. And
absolutely, Joe. Right? If you could have taken the two of them, if you could have taken Biggie's ability to bend lyrics and his wordplay and all that stuff and put it into Pac's body with his delivery and his flow system, like, you would have had the greatest hip-hop artist the world had ever seen, honestly. It wouldn't even been a discussion down the road.
When it comes to Biggie, there's a documentary on him on Netflix that just came out last month, and I watched it the first day it came out, and it was really cool. I had interviews with his brother, his mom, Faith Evans or Faith
Evans. Yep. Faith.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about this too is that all of Biggie's rhymes are street tales, right? If you listen to Pac's first album, it's all socially conscious rap. It's the kind of stuff that Chuck D might have done in Public Enemy, but not as like revolutionary. But you get a song like Brenda's Got a Baby about teenage pregnancy and adoption and how can you care for a kid. And then when he gets into the second album is when we start getting into the more hard lyric style. And that's when he really becomes Tupac. But you listen to that first album, it's got a lot of socially conscious stuff on it as well. And so then you have also two different voices. The voice that Tupac was instilled with from his mother, who had those social conscious things, and then the street tales of Biggie who had lived that life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I love them both. I'll be listening to the both of them until the day my ears don't work anymore. So, absolutely love them both. And last thing on the hip hop. I know we're on a film show. I know I'm talking music here.
I got one thing before we end this one, but
I can't believe that we went from guys like that who had absolute fire in their mouth. They spit actual lyrics, things that mattered, to an era where mumble rapping and saying nothing makes you absolutely famous. It's a sad, sad day. That's all I'm going to say.
6ix9ine guy is just. Ugh.
All right, Jason Roberts, Snoop. Love Snoop. I got to work a few of his different 420 concerts in Denver, because once we legalized weed recreationally, he's in Denver every 420. And so one of the years I was doing backstage, and my boss is like, all right, dude, I'm going to put you on Snoop's door. And I'm like, all right, cool. And as I'm walking down the hall, I can smell so much fresh weed. I wasn't even close to the door. And so then when he got there, there was different levels of all access. And there was only like 6 that had access to his green room. And so when he got there, at the time, my goatee was about down to here. And as I'm opening the door for him, he's like, nice goatee, nephew. And I'm like, nice dread, Snoop. And I saw there was literally a pile of weed on his table that had gotten donated from the Cannabis Cup. And super nice guy, said hi and everything every time he came in and out of the dressing room. Just a complete class act.
Oh, listen, everybody thinks that Snoop's happiest day was when they legalized marijuana in places, because now he could legally, he didn't care. He was smoking his whole life anyways.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't going to stop him. It became his happiest day because now when he visited those states, the gift that he was going to be left was weed. Now they were going to be taking care of him the right way. That's why he's happy now.
Well, and he can legally invest.
Oh, yeah. And look at what it's done for Tyson, too. Sorry, I don't mean, but look, like those guys are making a lot of money off of this
Mike
stuff.
Tyson
Man.
is killing it.
Yeah, I gotta get in the legal marijuana game somehow. I don't know. Somebody hook me up. Something.
Okay, I'll tie this back in. Two Beards on Film. Half Baked. There we go. Tommy Chong. Hilarious movie. Dave Chappelle and Neil Brennan wrote it when they were 16.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's
oh,
one
man,
of
Joe.
first,
Look at Joe.
that
KRS-One. Look at you, sir.
Yeah.
I love KRS, dude. I love KRS, bro. She got. I mean, the sad thing is, he's still good to this day. He just doesn't get the radio play anymore and such. And there was a time where he was still putting out some good music, just nobody was listening, unfortunately. But I love me some KRS.
Boop, boop. That's the sound of the beat.
Well, what were you going to say, brother?
Oh, I was gonna. If we're talking about movies that have like talk about bud and stuff like that, I was thinking Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and they have a good amount in there.
Yeah,
that was a great one. I know a lot of people don't like Guy Ritchie, but I like him.
Love Guy Ritchie.
I like him.
Yeah.
So disappointed in The Gentleman.
I'm so going blank right now on Guy Ritchie films.
Snatch. We did Snatch on here.
Oh, dude, love Guy Ritchie. There you go. That's all. Snatch will do it. I'm good.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie, and then Tarantino, Rodriguez. I liked Faculty. It's just a weird Rodriguez. I don't know if y'all remember that one.
Spy Kids.
Yep. And then, you know.
Did you just ask us if we like Tarantino?
I don't know if y'all like Tim Roth.
Joe, did he just ask us if you like Tarantino?
Love Tim Roth. One of my favorite British actors, modern day British actors.
Yep.
He didn't just ask us if we like Tarantino, right? He didn't do
No,
that.
I was talking about me. No. I know y'all.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Tarantino's kind of like, you know, one of our staples on here, sir.
So it started off like for me, it really went from like Star Wars as a kid, and then like Labyrinth with like I don't know if y'all remember Labyrinth with Jim Henson's puppets and everything, and
David Bowie.
And then I started branching off, and then I got into Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles, and then all of a sudden it started going into more like real movies,
Yeah.
First VHS I ever owned. I'll give anybody on the screen $1 if they can guess it.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nope.
When were you born, Joe?
1984.
I got a year on you, Joe?
I guess so.
You're both youngins.
Michael Keaton Batman. First Michael Keaton Batman.
Nope. You want to give it a shot, Walt?
Let's see. First VHS, I'm guessing early 90s. Ghostbusters?
Nope. First one, I still own it to this day. King Kong versus Godzilla. Thank you very much.
Really?
The old school one.
Yep, the old school one. My grandfather was a huge Godzilla fan. We watched every one of them together, and the first one we started with was the old school Kong versus Godzilla. I remember sitting there watching it with them after we got done playing about an hour of the original Mario Brothers. Awesome night. Loved my grandfather. Loved hanging out with him. Yeah.
That is an epic childhood right there.
That was the first VHS film that was ever purchased for me by my grandfather. And I remember him buying it. My mother going, "What are you doing? He's 5. He's not going to understand." My grandfather's like, "He'll be fine. He's going to be good. It's not even scary. It's just guys in big suits. He'll be fine. Leave him alone."
And that's why that makes sense now that me and you are close to the same age, because I'm big into slasher, horror as well, like Freddy,
as everybody should be.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all that stuff, like
as everyone should be.
90s, that was horror for me. And then we talked about now the genre has changed to where it's just like the shock scenes, which are just boring to me. I don't need a person
Some
just
of
to
them
turn
are
around.
good. Sorry, some of them are pretty good, but I just no. Yeah. Show me the gallons of blood.
Yep.
Show me the decapitation.
Slaughterhouse. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, show me everything, man. I grew up in an era where they kept trying to find a way to up the gore factor.
Yep.
Now it feels like we're trying to tone it down every time we make a film. Why? Why are we toning it down?
Takes it all back to Blair Witch Project. That shock scare scenes.
I hate that movie. I hate that movie so much. I hate every incarnation of that
I knew
film.
this was coming.
Yep.
Oh.
Every incarnation of that film has been bad.
For me,
and now it's got a video game. There is a Blair Witch video game.
That's bad.
I love comedic horror. Like,
those are fine.
Like scary movie?
Those are cool.
Scary movie. My favorites are Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
They just take the gore over the top.
Yep.
Yes.
The comedy's there. And all the trauma movies.
What is that?
Pronounced trauma.
Trauma. New Jersey. That's New Jersey. Trauma.
Yeah, Trauma. Yeah,
Toxic
Avenger. Trauma. Trauma's the company. Toxic Avenger is what they first got known for, and then they did a bunch of other ones. Yeah, but that's New Jersey, baby.
Yeah, super low budget.
Pork roll eaters.
Yep.
Taylor Ham, sir. Taylor Ham. Don't do it, Joe.
I've already
given argue this point. I'd swear to you. I mean, if you saw last night after the damn live, Nicole even put up a story about the 3 branches of New Jersey government, and it says egg, cheese, and pork roll. And I shared the story, and I said, I'll take this from her. The rest of you do this. I'm coming for you. And I was like, but the swamp. Yep. Jeff's all over this stuff. Look at him.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing. Yeah. Jeff talked about Terrifier, though. I don't know if anyone in here has seen it.
Mm-mm.
I think Terrifier, if I'm thinking of the right movie, that's Walt the Clown. And he is the only clown I've ever seen in a movie that gives Pennywise a run for his money. Okay? Now he's just a friggin' nut job in a clown outfit, but he's way up on the nut job scale. Like he's friggin' creepy, dude. Like he's
that
level
looks
10 creepy.
That looks really creepy. Jesus.
One of my favorite.
Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite horror comedies, if you guys haven't seen it, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes. Yes. I remember that.
I saw that one in the theaters.
Joe,
I'm looking at Terrifier.
you looking at Terrifier? Are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
What do you think? He's a little bit creepy looking, right?
I love the costuming. I love the look. I may have to watch
Yeah.
this, and I'm not a big slasher guy, but I dig this.
No,
It's
you
very
would
like-
like this one.
Really, like,
You would
Slither looking,
listen.
you know?
It's in a weird way. It's a horror and it's a comedy in a weird way because even though he's chopping up people, you almost want to laugh while he's doing it, which makes me feel a little bit weird at times. But the way he does it and the way he carries himself, it's
gotta
almost
watch it.
like disturbingly funny. Like
I'm seeing where it is online. It is on
On
Amazon
Tubi.
Prime. It's
Yep.
on it.
Awesome. There we go.
Oh, it's on Tubi. Yeah, it's on Tubi.
I'm probably gonna have to watch it now too. See what you guys
Yeah.
did.
Joe
Oh,
turned me
Shaun-
on to Tubi, so I'm gonna get on that Tubi version. Yeah.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is a good one, Jeff. I like.
Oh
those.
yeah.
Shaun of the Dead is a great one. Those guys are great too.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg and
Nick Frost.
yes, absolutely fanatic of that duo. Like they're great together. So good together.
Another reason, and I know Walt likes this show, The Boys on Amazon. One of the things that really ticked me off about The Boys is in the comic book. Garth Ennis, who's the writer, is North Irish. He's Northern Irish, but he drew Huey to look like Simon Pegg, and he was a Scottish character. So to get this and to not have the Scottish, I don't have a problem with the Huey in the show, but I wish we would have had the sign and notice how Simon Pegg played that guy's father. That's a nod to the Huey in the comic books because
I
he
guess
was supposed to look like
he's,
Simon Pegg.
he's past its kind of his age.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right there. He's a little too old to do it, but because the Boys comic books goes back to, I think, 01 or 03. It's an old comic series.
And that's primo time for Simon Pegg.
Yeah. How long are we going tonight, Joe? 9:30?
I was about to get ready to start wrapping it up at this point. I figured
Fair
right
enough.
about now is a good time. We can start going around the table real quick, around here real quick, saying everybody's got going on, all that good stuff. I also want to thank Waltimus real quick for coming on. Walt, you've been amazing, brother. And we will have you back when we do our full-on fan appreciation night where we can get all the guys on the screen because that's what we want to do. We want to have all of you here, have an awesome night, have some fun. Walt, anything you would like to tell the folks about things you have coming up this week, sir? Please feel free right now.
Yeah, just the regard. We as long I don't know if y'all know, but we got Chad Straza in the group now. He does a lot of funny skits. So we're going to be working with him to try and bring some comedy into the regard and just bring something new. It doesn't have to always be about beard stuff. As you guys can see, there's so much more stuff we can talk about. So regards on Friday nights at 10:30 Eastern, and I don't know, come on out, be a lot of fun after the reviewers table, of course.
I don't think the reviewers table has talked about beard products in like 3 months. Barbado Joe, anything you got going on this week, my friend?
Firstly, with Walt, we had the Regard guys on therapy last week. So you can go to the Beard Therapy channel and get to know them a little bit. Watch the first hour. You'll get a good take on those guys. My usual schedule is True Detective, new episode of True Detective every 3 days. I do Snack the World, usually every Saturday. I release Brazil Part 2 a little early. And then every other Tuesday, I do United Beards of America until I hit all 50 of those states. And of course, every Wednesday, Johnny Groom's Beard Therapy, the bad and ugly stepchild of the Beard Live community.
Hey, Joe, how many states have you logged in at this point?
I'm on 35 right now. 35. I'm at
35. Wow, dude. Wow. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Silver Chef Eric, what do you got going on this week, sir?
Starting in 3 weeks, same time we start this, on the alternating weeks that we don't do Beards on Film, I'm going to be doing a live stream where I'll have guests, and it'll all be about talking about recovery, reducing the stigma around recovery, from mental health, from addiction, from surgeries, injuries, anything that you can recover from, we're going to talk about. And I've got a few guests lined up right now, and I'm shooting for some pretty big ones down the line, but I'm going to have some really good guests, and it's all going to be about reducing stigma. And, for those that haven't heard my story, you'll get to hear my story and friend stories. And so I'm really excited about it. Still haven't come up with a name for it yet.
That's
I'm sure you'll figure it out. She's got to be saying goodbye to you guys. She's probably going to text me in about 10 minutes. So say goodbye.
No. This woman liked Black Mass, so I'm currently not speaking to her.
Oh.
Hotties love this guy. I don't know who. Just saying.
Eric, man, I know you've been working on the live stream for a while, sir. So I'm happy you're finally going to get it off the ground soon, and I'm looking forward to it, brother. I'll be there. I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Let's see. What do I got going on this week? What do I got going on? Oh, yeah, that's right. Tomorrow, the sit down. I think we're going 9 o'clock. Everybody seems to prefer the 9 o'clock time. Why? I don't know. It's Sunday. I thought 8 o'clock would work, but everybody seems to prefer the 9 o'clock timing on this thing. So I think we're going to go 9 o'clock on Sundays to sit down. I'm not sure who's going to be on tomorrow because my guest actually canceled on me. So I'll figure something out. I got some guys I can always hit up. They'll always come on and have a good time with me, so I'm not too worried about that. Tuesday, the newest video I have will be dropping. It will be on a head shave video, actually, on Tuesday. Thursday, I got a review coming out. Friday, the reviewers table's on my channel. And that's about it for this week. Wow, I'm a busy guy all of a sudden.
Joe, I want to say one thing regarding this show, okay? Remember, for those of you who are out there, because we have a couple new people, or at least one new person, every other Saturday, and starting with the next time we do this, we're going to bounce it back and forth between Joe and Eric, okay? So it's on Joe's channel, then Eric's. Next one is going to be Audience Appreciation. You're going to have the man to my right back on here, and hopefully Camo Cam, and Disney Beardsman. And then we'll go back into our theme sort of thing, 8 o'clock, Saturdays, 2 weeks' time, Bearded Life. If you had fun tonight, we're going to be discussing. Let's talk about our themes again. Walt, what's your theme?
Mine is investigation.
Investigation. Eric, what would you say Camo's theme was again?
Camo Cam is kind of coming of age, high school coming of age movies, I guess is the best way to put it. Comedic.
And Joe and Disney, you're going to be doing
sports films.
Sports films. Yeah, Nicole. That face was for me, wasn't it, dear? Yes, it was. Yes, you black mob loving young lady, you. Or whatever that thing was called. All right, so that's all I had, Joe.
Yeah, I believe it'll be sports films with me and Disney. I have to touch base with him and find out what exactly he wants to do, and we'll figure it out. I'm sure we always do. But I'm looking forward to it. I always love doing the show, man. Like I've said it more than once. I could care less if it's the three of us that watch it and my daughter at the end. I'm still going to do it because I just have fun doing it. So it's cool that we got people who want to come on and do it with us. We thank every one of you guys who take any time out of your nights to spend even 5 minutes with us and watch the show. We hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks. Walt, thank you so much for joining us, brother, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is one of my favorite. This is my favorite non-beard related show channels, and I just really love coming and being in the chat, and really can't wait to join you guys again.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. You guys have a good night now. All right, Joe, Eric, Walt, be safe, guys.
Take care.
Thanks for